and welcome to the 2026 Beckley Woodrow Wilson Football Preview Show here on Video Productions. Hello again, everybody. I'm Maris Lowry. We have Eric Thomas. We also have the heavy hitter, Mr. Nick Eskins, producing and directing. Butch Mounts on camera, and we're here with the head football coach of the Flying Eagles Street, Sarrett. Over the next 35-40 minutes, we're going to dive into what the 2026 Flying Eagles will look like, and we'll do that after our first break, coming up next here on Video Productions.
Before you hit the Hatfield-McCoy trails, fuel up the way West Virginians do at Little General Stores. We're proud to be part of your ride. Rooted in West Virginia and built for the back roads. Little General Stores. Fuel your adventure the West Virginia way.
Some moments change everything. In an instant, your world grows bigger. And suddenly, it's real. There are questions, there are plans, there are quiet worries you don't always say out loud. And there are providers who walk with you through all of it, from the first heartbeat to the first time you hold them in your arms. At Access Health Women's Health, you don't have to leave your community to receive exceptional care. Access Health, right here at home.
My name's Keith Sigmund. I'm the general manager here at Buchanan Mine. I find in Bluefield State graduates a characteristic that is uncommon in most today, and that characteristic is their work ethic.
Not afraid to spend as many hours as they need to spend here. They have a great work ethic. Why we search for Bluefield State graduates is because they don't shy away from the challenge.
And welcome back to the 2026 Beckley Woodrow Wilson Football Preview Show. Maris Lowry, Eric Thomas. We have the head football coach of the Flying Eagles Street, Sarrett. We're going to break this show down into three segments. We'll talk about the offseason. We'll hear from Coach Sarrett here momentarily. We will talk about the current roster, and then we will dive into the schedule. In this first segment, the offseason is brought to you by ServPro of Beckley, just like it never happened. Steve Kelly, your local operator. Also being brought to you by WVU Tech. Find your passion at wvutech.edu. Also brought to you by Pioneer Community Bank, new locations coming, and by Chick-fil-A in the Beckley Galleria and Harper Road. Eat more chicken. Well, Coach, I know the time is upon us where you're getting ready to start a new year. It's hard to believe your 11th season. Talk a little bit about what's been going on since the end of last year till now. You're getting ready to start a whole new year.
You know, at the end of the season, it didn't work out the way we wanted in a playoff game. And then, you take a little bit of time off and then you get back in our weight room. And we go 4 days a week. We start off 3, and then we build it up to 4 with a flex day built in as the spring comes. And, we've been rolling. And then comes June, and you go to your June stuff and do 7-on-7s, things like that. Gave them a little break there in July, and we've been the last 3 weeks doing full flex days, Monday through Thursday, getting ready for the season coming up.
Okay, Coach, I have a chance with social media to follow you guys, and I want to talk a little bit about what you do outside of football, and that's with the you bring all the kids together, you feed them, you do a lot of stuff that goes under the radar. Let's talk about that and building unity.
It started years ago. We would do morning lifts for our multi-sport guys. Well, then it turned into the other guys started coming, so they didn't have to stay after school. So we just made all our lifts in the morning, and we started fixing breakfast for those guys. And so it's just turned into a thing, and I thought that was something, as our staff talked about, we were missing, because kids don't eat nowadays. They'll go all day at school and not eat because they think the food's nasty. So we fix, our coaches fix, 55, 60 breakfast every morning when we're there. At the end of practice these last 3 weeks, we've been fixing them dinner, and that's just something that we took on as a staff that we thought we needed to do for our kids to make sure that they're getting a good meal before school, and then if we got practice, we do it after practice.
So I got to ask you, are you the chef?
No. That chef. In years past, it was Coach Dave Ray, and then the last few years it's been Coach Umberger. Coach Umberger comes in there, like we start our weights at 5, so he's there before 4 a.m. with us, and he's prepping, getting on thing, and I bet you Coach Umberger's cracked more eggs than he wanted to, but it's a good thing, and they love it, and those kids, man, it's a get a good meal before you start your day at school, and their day goes by, and you can just – I've had teachers tell us about, hey, I see those kids come in with their to-go boxes, and, man, it just makes a difference in their life. So it's just something we wanted to do and just part of our program and make it special.
Coach, one of the things you and I talked about while we were getting set up is football never sleeps, and, it's pretty much 24/7, 365, so you've got to be able to do all these things in the offseason. So when the season comes, when you can actually start the first week of August, you are ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah, we've been blessed to get 32 flex days in between state baseball tournaments, and man, we use them. We take pride in our weight program and having kids in there and getting that done. And then it helps that we do our stuff in the morning. So many multi-sport athletes, and then they can go to their practice after school. But I'm going to tell you what, here recently, a lot of kids work. We got kids that go to work right after school, work. I'm going to tell you, during school, they'll work 30 hours a week at a job. So, but, football, it's different. And if I talked about this the other day with some people, showing up in August and you're a kid or a coach and August 3rd is your first day, it's going to be a long year for you. So you got to be prepared, and we've been preparing these last 3 weeks with offense and defense and special teams. I believe we could play a game right now.
Okay, so we started out, and you talked about how the season ended last year, and I want to touch on that because you were on the cusp of doing something that hadn't been done in a while here at Beckley, and you had a chance to win that tough road game at Wheeling Park. What did you learn from that and that to carry forward with this group?
It's just little things in that play. I thought those boys played their hearts out.
They did.
I felt terrible for AJ and Preston and Jamarcus, Tyrez, and those seniors, but they played their hearts out and just come up short. We was on the goal line, had a chance to get in, and just didn't get in. And I think this senior bunch with Gage and Javante, they're locked in. They're ready to go. They're at practice early every day, and they understand it, and they don't want to have that feeling again.
One of the things, too, when you talk about the offseason, I'm sure your kids really embrace that because when the official practice starts, they are ready to go. And like you said a minute ago, you feel you could play a game if you had to play right now. Obviously, your first game's not for another 3.5, 4 weeks. You'll have a couple of scrimmages, and we'll get into that when we talk about in the schedule portion of it. But I think that's where football is way more advanced now than what it used to be, the fact that you can do things like that.
It is. Back in the day, I'll say, like when me and Eric played, we had 3 weeks of two-a-days.
That's it.
And people, they say two-a-days. What's a two-a-day?
Yeah, they don't know that.
And with all the things, the flex days and the off-season that we do, there's no need for two-a-days. There's no need for that. So it helps prepare your kids, and the ones that have been there and show up every day, they've gotten better in football. And it gives you a chance to get your incoming freshmen, your eighth graders, acclimated to high school football, because middle school football is way different than high school football. Like summer, those guys are like, what do you mean we're practicing in July? I say, guys, we got 3 weeks of flex days, and we're going to WVU, we're going to Marshall for 7-on-7s and things like that. So it's a shock for them, and it gets them around the high school guys. We try to keep them separated in our off season where we do 8th grade weights in the evening. And some 8th graders, like me and Eric was talking earlier before we come on the show, there's some 8th graders, man, they came to the morning stuff with the high school guys. They'd catch the bus to Beckley Stratton as soon as we got done. But it helps acclimate those guys and get them used to it because it's more structured, more time-consuming is what I say, because it does take some time. High school football and coaching it and doing it the right way, if you want to be good, it takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, Street, you and Eric, when you all played high school football, it was more the modern era. When I played, I don't think it was the modern era. I don't think the 70s now is considered the modern era.
Did you have a face mask, Maris?
Actually, we did. We had a leather helmet, but when I played in the 70s, and I played for the late, great Fred Hills, I played for, yeah. So, but the football is so much different from, like I said, from my time of the 70s when Eric played in the late 80s to the 90s, and then, Coach, when you played in the 90s.
It's evolved. Football has really evolved, and man, you got to change with the times is what I tell people, and I tell people if I can change, then anybody can change, and so it's just one of those things.
All right, we'll wrap the first segment up on that. We'll dive into the current personnel of the 2026 Flying Eagle football team, and we'll do that on the other side of the break here on Video Productions.
You have a goal. You know what you want. Start with us, New River Community and Technical College, your community college. Take classes online or in a classroom in Beaver, Lewisburg, Summersville, or Princeton, or step outside the classroom in one of our technical or health programs. Find flexible and affordable options to help you reach your goal. It's closer than you think when you start with us. New River Community and Technical College. Apply today.
Teriyaki Madness is real food made to order with fresh, high-quality ingredients. That's why Little General Stores has partnered with them to bring delicious, fresh favorites to your neighborhood. Visit TeriyakiMadness.com.
Fresh Asian Creole.
Here we grow again. Pioneer Community Bank is proud to offer a network of banks right here in our communities. By offering you more locations, Pioneer continues to meet all your banking needs where you are. Please stop by our new Harper Road location. We are truly investing in Southern West Virginia. Pioneer Community Bank. Friendly service, great products. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Take care of this by the end of the day.
Sure, I'll take care of that. Done.
It's that easy with compliance. Compliance. We've got your back office.
This fall, let the beauty of the season in without the chill. At Window World of Beckley, we bring comfort, style, and savings to your home. Our windows and doors are built to handle West Virginia's wild and wonderful weather, keeping the warmth in and the energy bills low. With energy-efficient windows, expert installations, and affordable financing options, it's time to upgrade. It's never been easier to fall in love with your home again. Call 1-800-WINDOW-WORLD today.
And we welcome you back into the 2026 Beckley Woodrow Wilson Football Preview Show. Maris Lowry, Eric Thomas, the heavy hitter, Mr. Nick Eskins, producing, directing, Butch Mounts on camera, as we have the head coach, Street Sarrett, and segment 2 here. This segment is brought to you by Window World of Beckley. Window World with windows, doors, and more. You can dial them up at 304-252-7494. Also brought to you by Forgill Law Office. Forgill Law Office been handling family matters with care for decades. And by Pepsi, the clean, crisp taste of a regular Pepsi, a Diet Pepsi, or a Pepsi Zero. And by Pasquale's. Over 55 years, great Italian cuisine. All right, Coach, every year you've got to replace seniors that graduate, and I'm going to start with 2 particularly because they were really good on both sides of the ball. Preston Clary, A.J. Thomas, those are big shoes, and I know you got other shoes you got to fill, but those are maybe the 2 the biggest positions you got to fill.
Those are, and you know, we'll miss those guys on both sides of the ball, special teams. I mean, A.J. 2-time first team 4A All-State DB, Preston Clary second team All-State. And they're going to play college. Preston's going to West Virginia State, and AJ's going to Marietta. And you know it's going to be hard to replace those guys, but we got some young guys coming in that'll replace them. So it's just one of those things, and that's the nature of football.
Right.
You got to be ready, step up.
Okay, so we had a chance to talk about this, and we're going to talk about the roster as far as replacing those skill players. You said that you have a bevy of talent. You know, some of it's going to be young. So touch on the young guys that are coming up.
You got some 8th graders coming in that I think people are going to see on Friday night. You got a young man that was running back at Beckley Stratton, Cam Davis. And then you got a young man that was running back at Park, Zayden Johnson Hill. Those guys have the tools. We just got to get their bodies ready. And that's the biggest thing. They have the tools, the football, the vision on the field. So I expect to see those guys on the field early. And then, like I said, returning for us, I mean, my goodness, anytime you have your quarterback back, you know, Gage Price, quarterback, gotten big, gotten strong, you know, all-state catcher in baseball. And he's gotten his arm strength so much better, and I think he's locked in for his senior year. And 2 running backs back, you know, you got Gage Burdett, second team All-State, 1,000-yard rusher. That's a lot of offense. And then him on the other side of the ball playing linebacker defense. He's a force. He's a football player. He can play any position except for offensive and defensive line, but he can play. And then Javonte Wines, that's going to be the sleeper for everybody. You know, he came on in that playoff game last year towards the end of the season, and I think he figured out, man, I'm a ball player. Coach is right. And so he'll be a sleeper, and people are starting to know after week 1 who Javonte Wines is.
And you know, Coach, you really were reading my mind. Eric and I did several games last year, and we were both thinking that's the kid that could really be the next great Beckley, player at the skilled position, and also always a plus whenever you have at any level when you have an experienced quarterback and running back returning like you do.
Yes, it's that is so much, because that's just like having. They already know the offense. They can run it. They don't have to. When I say something, they know this is what we're doing. So that's the good thing, having all those guys back in the skill position.
So, Coach, to piggyback off of that, in a previous interview this week, I follow all aspects of sports, and there's something that you said that I want you to touch on, and it's a great nickname. You call them the triplets. I think Javonte is number 1.
1, 2, 3.
Gage 1, 2, 3, right?
1, 2, 3.
But the thing that I get from all 3 of those guys, they are gamers. They don't talk a lot.
No.
They go out there and do. So touch on the leadership role, because I think Gage Burdett, as a running back, when you look at him, the kid runs way tougher than you would think, and that he has heart, and I could see your quarterback and Gage Price growing every game last year.
Oh yeah.
And I had a chance during track season to see Javonte, and his body is really turning into. He's turned into a young man.
Yep.
So talk about the triplets.
Man, I'll tell you what, like you said, Gage Burdett, you look at him, you're like, man, that kid's a running back, but then he gets out there, and, man, he's a running back. He makes people miss, and he's tough. He takes the hits, and he runs people over. And, man, like I said, he's a true football player. He loves it. He's one of the first ones in our building every day. And, man, he just I look for another big year out of him. Like I told him, I said, man, last year nobody knew who you was. They know who you are now. See, we got to be ready. And get Javonte, like you talk about track season, I said, hey, you need to run track. Run the 400 for Coach Kidd. And, man, he got better and better and better. And then I think he hit a growth spurt and really changed his body in our weight program. And I think he's going to be a surprise for some people. I think they're going to say, man, we stopped that Burdett boy. No, you're going to have to stop them both. So, and, man, Gage Price, he is a loyal Beckley football player. I could tell you, just improved. Wants to be good. You catch him out here on Sundays. I think he throws to AJ and Preston all the time out here, getting them ready before they go to college. And just a good kid, well-mannered kid that just wants to not let anybody down. He doesn't want to he feels when he throws an incomplete pass or an interception that he has let me down. I tell him, I say, man, that's short memory. We got to go. Come on, next one. But they're leaders, and like you said, I never paid attention until the other day. They stand there, and I was like, 1, 2, 3, look at y'all. And I said, my goodness.
Well, when you said the triplets, it kind of caught my ear, being a Dallas Cowboy fan, Emmett, Troy, and Michael.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Street, I don't hold that against Eric.
No, we don't. I didn't even know they still had a team down there in Dallas, Maris.
Me either. I don't hold that against him. Street, another thing has changed. Your coaching staff's changed a little bit. Talk about that.
We picked up some guys. I've always had Doug Legursky, Brent Osborne, Jerry Umberger, and this year we picked up Coach Wilkes, who played linebacker at Marshall, state champion quarterback out of Maryville, Tennessee. Played with Doug and Matt Morris, and Matt Morris is another one we picked up. So I've got 4 guys that have played on our staff that played college football, and one that played in the NFL. And, man, couldn't think of better people to surround these young men with than the coaching staff that I have. I mean, and our trainer, Mike Fraley, he's hanging out with the Denver Broncos right now, doing an internship all summer long with them. So there's a guy that's been with the Denver Broncos that's going to be taking care of kids in Beckley.
And I think that's got to be a great something that the parents can think, look at my kids, they're being coached by, college players and a professional player and people who really know the ins and outs.
I say it all the time. If your kid's an offensive, defensive lineman, and you don't think Coach Legursky knows what he's talking about, then I don't know how to explain it to you, because he knows what he's talking about.
Well, when you play in the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
I think that says enough right
Yep.
there, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to take a break, come back, and get the final segment. We'll dive into the 2026 schedule for the Flying Eagles, and we'll do that on the other side of the break here on Video Productions.
Hey, my name's Paige, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is the crispiness of the breading and the tenderness of the filet. It's tasty, it's warm, it's total satisfaction.
Hi, this is Tanya, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is that warm bun, the perfectly seasoned chicken, and that pickle. Woo! I love it. There's a taste of my childhood in every bite.
I never thought this would happen.
When disaster takes control of your life, we got you. Get it back with a single call to the team that shows up fast to make things right. Serve Pro, like it never even happened.
Direct Choice Pre-Owned Auto Sales is a proud supporter of all our area middle school and high school athletics. Direct Choice Pre-Owned Auto Sales keeps a huge selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs with some of the best prices in southern West Virginia. We also have several lenders for your financing needs. Direct Choice Pre-Owned Auto Sales and your student athletes, a winning combination.
Teriyaki Madness is real food made to order with fresh, high-quality ingredients. That's why Little General Stores has partnered with them to bring delicious, fresh favorites to your neighborhood. Visit TeriyakiMadness.com.
Fresh Asian Creole.
When you're in need of a plumber, you want someone that's going to treat you like family. Modley's Plumbing and Heating, a family-owned business since 1987, wants you to know our customers and employees are as important as family. Built by family to families, quality work is our hallmark at Modley's Plumbing and Heating. So the next time you're in need of a plumber, give Modley's Plumbing and Heating a call at 304-253-HELP. Help to Modley's means handling every little problem.
Welcome you back into the 2026 Beckley Woodrow Wilson Football Preview Show. Maris Lowry, Eric Thomas, the heavy hitter, Mr. Nick Eskins, producing and directing. Butch Mounts on camera. We have the head football coach, Street Sarrett, hard to believe his 11th season. And this third and final segment is brought to you by New River Community and Technical College. Stay close to home and go far with a degree. Also being brought to you by Modley's Plumbing and Heating. They are the official plumbing and heating company of Video Productions. You can dial them up at 304-253-HELP. Also by Exit Elevation Realty, Luca Richmond, the broker. You can dial them up 304-256-0101. Exit Elevation Realty, the official realty company of Video Productions. And by City National Bank, located on Main Street in Beckley. You can see the branch manager, Casey Maynor, and go see Mary Denny. Mary M Money. That great. Here we are diving into the schedule, Coach, and of course there's always a couple of scrimmages before you get in to your regular season. August 14th at home against Spring Valley, and then August 20th on the road at Parkersburg. And you'd played Spring Valley in the past, now you're scrimmaging. And in the past, Beckley and Parkersburg, great history between the two schools, but now you're end up scrimmaging them.
Oh, yeah, that'll be tough. Two tough scrimmages. Spring Valley's very physical, and that's what we want to see. And with our line up front, it'll be a good test for them. All those guys are back, juniors, and it'll be tough. Coach Dingus does a great job. And then Parkersburg, we haven't scrimmaged them or played them for a while, so they'll be on the schedule the following year. So we'll get to see what they're made of, and it kind of gets you guys ready. That's a good little trip to get ready for the following week when we open up in Washington, up in the Panhandle.
And, speaking of that opening game in Washington, Eric, we'll let you touch on this in a minute, but for your kids that have been around when you went up there 2 years ago, that ought to be an advantage because they know what to expect. Long trip, they know where they're playing, because I believe in that until you played them 2 years ago, Beckley and Washington had never played before, because Washington's only been a school maybe 10, 15 years, so they hadn't been 16, around. Yeah, they hadn't been around that long. So a lot of your kids now that was on the team the last couple of years have experienced playing against Washington.
Oh, yeah, and that's just the nature of it in 4A football. You look, and we're out kind of on an island in southern West Virginia. We're going to play Oak Hill, but around us, so you get a good trip like that. And, these kids traveled to Wheeling Park last year, so now we're going to travel to Washington early. And it gets you ready. Because if you've never traveled, you take an 8th grader that's never got on a bus. I mean, the farthest they probably had to go might have been Bluefield or Princeton. And we're going to go 4 hours away.
Right.
It teaches them, hey, man, this is a serious trip. We're going to stop and eat at this restaurant. we're going to do a walkthrough, and then we're going to go play this football game, and it's an event.
Hey, so with these 2 early scrimmages, what do you to really just work on your basics? Like you said, you've already installed. You just want to, maybe move a couple people around and see them in different aspects.
Yep. Just like last year when we scrimmaged, I put Gage Burdett at running back. He had a cast on his hand, and, man, I found a running back. So we'll put kids in different positions. It'll be a good test. You take some of those young guys and put them at running back with a seasoned offensive line, and, man, if they can run with a seasoned offensive line, then it tells you they can play on Friday night. And, there's some spots on defense. We're going to rotate some people around, linebacker and safety, to fill in for some spots of people that graduated and see how they play. And you get them on film, and that really tells it.
Of course, we talk about opening up on Washington. Your second game is the big rival, and that's Greenbrier East. You've been getting the better of East, even though East did win the game last year. Still, the last time you went to East, you had great success, and I'm sure all the kids are excited about anytime you play Greenbrier East.
Anytime you play them, it's a rival. And we'll head up to Lewisburg and we'll play them, and we're going to get their best, and we're going to give them our best. And like you said, they got us last year with some turnovers, and we learned from our mistakes, and it'll be a great game.
The home opener on 9/11 against Parkersburg South.
Yep, Parkersburg South. We went up there last year, got a win for the first time in a long time. Beckley beat Parkersburg South. I'm hoping we can keep that rolling. That's a great coach up there. It's done a good job in getting them going, and we just hope they come down. That'll be their first big trip, and if you're not ready to travel from Parkersburg to Beckley and you get off the bus, I'm hoping we can jump on them early. They got some good skill guys back, a couple of big linemen, so it'll be a good game.
Yeah, and to touch on Parkersburg South a little bit, as you stated, you got over a hump. I think that was the first win since the 80s up at Parkersburg. So you're checking some stuff off the list. But I had a chance to watch you guys. You played them, I think, in the was it the first round of the playoffs here? Or no, it was a Saturday game.
Saturday game when our lights was.
Yes, and I remember the game like it was yesterday, and I thought you had them on the ropes, and you maybe fumbled. They picked it up and ran it for a touchdown.
Fumbled the first play of the game.
Yes, and after
the first play of the game, they ran it back for a touchdown, and then it was just like, and we're right there before half, and punted to them, and they returned it for a touchdown. So right there is a 14-point swing, and we've fought them tooth and nail every year we've played them, and it's just been it's just like, I call it the avalanche or the tidal wave. It gets on us, keeps us down, and those guys last year, they didn't let that tidal wave get on them when we went up there, and you get that momentum going against somebody, and they figure out those guys are average just like we are, man. We'll beat them.
Well, Street, that's like the first quarter of your schedule. Then when you get into the second quarter, going against Herbert Hoover. Now, I did some research on this and research by memory, and I know this will be the first regular season game ever, Beckley at Hoover. But Hoover and Beckley did play a playoff game. And if my memory serves me correct, it was 1998 because Bill O'Brien and I.
1996.
Is that when it was? Okay.
My brother's senior year.
Okay, it was down at Lately Field in Charleston. Okay,
yep.
So I was thinking 98, and you got me on it 96.
Football season 96.
I knew it was in the 90s, and it was a playoff game, and Pete Colacerto was the coach.
Yep.
And if my memory serves me correct, Herbert Hoover won 21-14, if my memory serves me correct.
Beckley was up 14-0 at one time in that game.
This is all memory that I'm going by. So you can see I can remember something that happened 30 years ago, Street, but ask me something happened 30 minutes ago, and I couldn't tell you. But so this is the first regular season game ever down at Hoover.
Yep. It's Herbert Hoover's got a big. They're predicted one of the top AAA teams, and we just fill schedules, and man, it'll be a good game. We played him in some 7-on-7, got a lot of skilled people, but 7-on-7 is not real football, so you never know. I think when we get our line and everything and travel down there, it'll be a fight. Like you said, that quarter of the schedule, those are wars on Friday night from there on.
I was just curious, how did that Hoover game, how did that come about?
Man, it's just the coaches get on there and they text each other, asking each other if they got any opening dates, and Coach Fields texted me, and I said, "Sure, man, we'll play you, no problem. Let's work out the date."
So let's just say it. I'm going to say it. If Herbert Hoover's calling, they think they were going to. Have a great chance.
They called us, and they called Huntington High, so they think they got a great team.
Well,
and let's play.
Let's line up, right?
That's it.
If they're stepping out of class and going up, and going against a school like Beckley and Huntington, you're right, Eric. They think that they've got a really good team.
But you have to respect that, because the way the scoring format now is, that game doesn't hurt you. Heck, can't you even get a bonus point playing up against the team?
How it works is strength of schedule. So for every 4A team, they get 1.5 points if they beat them. But then if you lose, let's say if we lose to an undefeated team at the end of the season, we got 15 strength of schedule points. And so, I think
that's fair.
Yeah, it is, and it makes people play each other instead of ducking. And like we had some people drop us off our schedule, and it just bewilders me how they drop people off a schedule and they still got to be in 4A and play. And so, but man, we'll play whoever wants to call. Our phones are. I tell Andrew Pennick, I said, if they call you, let me know, and we'll play.
So then after Hoover, you have Huntington at home. And, of course, Huntington, they've either been in the state championship. They've been knocking on the door over the last several years for a state title. They have.
And, they've won one. They've been in the finals. They got knocked out early, got a lot of kids back. Huntington High is predicted to be one of the top 4A teams. And, Coach Sills does a good job up there. And that'll be, like you said, that's two wars we're going to go to Friday nights, and people's got to understand that. But what I try to tell our guys, man, it don't matter. It's a bunch of gray faces, blank uniforms. Don't let a school's name beat you. Don't let the color of a jersey beat you or an emblem on a helmet.
Well, too, Beckley and Huntington over the years have had a great rivalry between the two schools. So it's good to see them play. And that gets you to the halfway point of your season. So you figure of time you go Parkersburg South, Hoover, Huntington, 3 straight games like that, your kids should be very, very battle tested.
Very, very battle tested.
Yeah. So then you start the back half of the last 5 games, and you're going to play Winfield. And you and I talked about this maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's about time that Winfield returned the favor, because Beckley went to Winfield in 2013, the only other time. And Eric Payton, your son, may have been even on that team.
He was.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and we've scrimmaged Winfield for years since I've been here. I know Coach Smolder, and so he called me up and he said, "Hey, you want to quit scrimmaging and play?" I said, "Yeah, Coach, let's play." They're a very tough, physical team, and so it'll be a good stretch there. And Winfield, he's always squared away, and those kids get after you, and they'll be in shape, and it'll be a competition. It'll be a good game.
And glad to see Cabell Midland back on the schedule.
Yeah.
You got them at home.
Yep, Cabell Midland at home. We scrimmaged them last year, and we got a new coach. And, there's nothing worse than being a new coach and you can't find games. And so he called me. I said, "Yeah, Coach, we'll play you, man. That's no problem." And we've played Cabell Midland in the past. And, big school. He's getting it turned around. They had a lot of kids exit out there after Coach Salmons left. And I think he's retaining a lot of those kids from Milton and Barbersville. So he's been getting that built back up to be one of the back the way Cabell Midland used to be a powerhouse.
Yeah, and the Cabell Midland scrimmage last year is when I had a chance to really, see your team up close. And I really thought that set the tone for your season, because I saw toughness in your offensive line, and that's what you're going to get when you play Cabell Midland. They had a monster defensive end, and I remember your guys kind of handling them a little bit, and I said this Beckley team has a shot.
Oh yeah, that's what we want. I want to see. We had 10th graders play on our line. Now they're juniors this year, so they're battle tested, and this will be those games there. I mean, like the Huntington Highs, the Cabell Midlands, Winfields. Those will be tests for us up front, and so I think our guys are going to step up to that challenge and move through and show what a good offensive line Coach Legursky's developed here the last few years.
And then after Cabell Midland, you make the trip down south, down 77 to take on Princeton. Princeton coming off of perhaps their best year, and I'm sure it is their best year in school history when they won the AAA state football championship last year.
Yep, won the state championship. We played them up here last year. It was a tooth and nail game, and then our quarterback got hurt, and it kind of got away from us on points. And it's just a matter. These guys they fight. And Nate Tanner, man, he's got a good group down there returning. He had some kids transfer from other schools in there, so I look for them to be them and Herbert Hoover to be the top AAA team. So
yeah, what a big stretch. You got Hoover and Princeton, the bookends on the road, and then in between Huntington, Winfield, and Cabell Midland. That is a tough 5-game stretch.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? You got to play them. We got one of those teams. There's a few teams on that schedule that'll probably play for a state championship this year.
And two straight, you're probably glad that after you go through that stretch, you finally get a bye week.
Yeah, it's a little break.
Yes.
That's the time you want to break. You know, you never want your break week 1 or week 11 or week 2 early in the season. So, you know, if you can get it in the middle, that's great. But that right there, that break will get us right. You get 2 regular more season games, and then it leads you into the playoffs.
And I think that's great. You're right, because you play your 8. Then, as all teams, you banged up a little bit.
Yep.
You got a chance to get healthy and also a chance to maybe kind of recharge, reset the batteries a little bit. And then, like you said, have a push to close out the regular season into the postseason. And, of course, Oak Hill, always a big rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
You have to go to Fayette County. I know the last time you went there 2 years ago, I don't think the chains were completely 10 yards. I think there was a lot of really quirky things that happened. I don't want to rehash old stuff, but I see the reaction I got out of you when I said that. But Beckley and Oak Hill have had that rivalry forever.
It's a rivalry, and like you said, man, it's we'll go over there and we'll play. The Oak Hill's going. I think Oak Hill and Beckley is a great rival, and it's good to have there at the end of the season. And you know, it'll be a good gate for Oak Hill, and we'll go over there and we're going to fight them just like we fought them over here last year. And hopefully, like you said, Maris, I might take a tape measure with me, and we're going to measure some chains, and I'm going to make sure the referees understand the rules of football, and
make sure the field's 100 yards right and 50 yards wide.
I thought I'd put that behind me.
Well, I didn't mean to open up an old wound there, Coach.
But no, it'll be a good game. Coach Marion does a good job, and so we'll be ready.
And speaking of Oak Hill's personnel, they've had a couple people exit, and so he'll be working with the young squad and you know, trying to patchwork some things together. But as you stated, it's always good to see Oak Hill, Greenbrier East, and Princeton. You know, those are old time you know, rivals, and good to see them on the schedule.
That's the sad part about this, you know, expanding to 4A, and you know, you lose those 4. When we were 3A, yes. Princeton was a 3A, Oak Hill's 3A, East is 3A. It's a great rivalry. And back in the day, you know, I mean, you just can't help it with Southern West Virginia. Bluefield was a AAA, Logan was a AAA, and I mean, you know, Man was a AAA. And it's just the nature of the beast. But we got to be careful with the population dropping, and you know, you don't want to get to where it's just 16 teams in 4A. I think, you know.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. That's. I think we need to keep that around. You know, I think we need 24 plus in 4A. So. And
then, of course, you finish up the regular season against George Washington at home.
Yep, very tough ball club. Steve Edwards has always got his ball club good. The good thing is, man, we always play them tough up here. There's something about when they come up here, and it's always a tooth and nail game, or we catch them and get them and beat them. And he's got probably one of the better linemen in the state, and Payne, you know, already committed to Marshall, state champion heavyweight in wrestling. So it'll be a good test for our linemen. If they think they can play against college, this will be a test for him. And I think we've seen him at 7-on-7, ton of skill throwing the ball everywhere. So it'll be anxious. Got probably one of the better running backs in the state back. And then Jaden Black, so it'll be a test for us leading into the playoffs.
But, you know, as we just went over your schedule, it's got to be one of the toughest schedules of any 4A teams. I know there's a lot of 4A teams out there that play a lot of other good 4A teams, but I think it's a good mixture because even in the lower class in AAA, those are still really good teams you're playing. You're playing like top-level AAA teams along with the 4A teams.
Herbert Hoover and Princeton could easily play each other in the state championship. AAA.
Yeah, I was going to say preseason polls, they'll be in 1 or 2 in the top 3.
So, and Huntington High will be a top 1 or 2 team.
Yes.
So, you know, you got to beat them to win a state championship. So let's go ahead and play them.
And you got to beat them one at a time. And before we wrap this up, first of all, being a head football coach, we talked about being, 24/7, 365. How much time do you get to spend with your family? And did you get a family vacation this year?
Yeah. We always make time for our family vacation, spend time with my family. My 2 oldest daughters, one lives in Arlington, Virginia. She works at George Mason University. And then my middle daughter, she's at WVU, and she comes home a little bit, but she works full time through the summer up there. She'll graduate next year. And then I've got my youngest one that's going to be a senior this year. And, she's around. She goes to school, works a part-time job. But like my wife gets off her job and she comes over in the evening and she's our picture person and takes the pictures and around the boys but we spend time. I do. Me and my younger brother call it turning the faucet off. You got to turn the faucet off and enjoy your family because, man, nobody wants that's not a healthy relationship to be football. And I was that way early in my career, and I've kind of learn to be able to say, man, we're going to shut it down, and this is what we're going to do. It'll be there tomorrow.
Okay. Well, before we let Street wrap it up, Eric, any final comments you want to add?
Well, I just want to ask one question. What message would you want to convey to your team, the fans, and especially the parents as you embark on the 2026 season?
Hey, it's going to be, like we just talked about that schedule, it's going to be a tough schedule. Everybody wants to win on Friday nights. Our coaching staff will not tell our kids anything that's not going to set them up for success. And what we look out of our football team every day is their effort and their attitude. If we got great effort, that means their attitude's great. But we can't have people with poor effort, and then that turns into a bad attitude. Then it just spreads. And that's just not our football team. That's our community. That's our parents. That's anybody. Pat these guys on the back. They work their tail off working for the city of Beckley, making sure that they represent on Friday nights.
Well, we're going to wrap it up with that. And, Coach, Eric and I from Video Productions will be looking forward to covering 4 to 5 of your games this season.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to think we will be able to maybe go on the road to go to Greenbrier East other than home games.
Not Washington?
Well,
y'all ain't going to come to Washington?
No, not going to make that trip to Washington, no.
I thought y'all come to Washington.
No, but we'll keep a real close eye on the score, though. We'll keep up with you we always do. But, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time to sit down with Eric and I and do this. And always a pleasure. Good luck to you.
Always, Maris. Thank you.
Good luck to you in the 2026
season. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you guys.
So that'll wrap it up here on Video Productions for Butch Mounts, who was our camera person, and producing, directing the heavy hitter, Mr. Nick Eskins. For Eric Thomas, I'm Maris Lowry. This has been the 2026 Beckley Woodrow Wilson Football Preview Show on Video Productions.